Welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ daily television news, broadcasting live and available on demand on your favorite streaming channels.
We are proud to announce that YouTube has recognized Queer News Tonight, certified by analytics company vidIQ, as the world's most popular LGBTQ streaming news show, with nearly 11 million views on the only daily live queer news show in the world.
We are proud that we have more than 1,000 new subscribers in November, and that Queer News Tonight has more YouTube subscribers than any other LGBTQ brand in Florida.
Over 500,000 of you have watched this show in the last 60 days. We thank you for watching and supporting our voice in our community.
It is December 10th. We are live and literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we are going to tell on Queer News Tonight.
This is the world's first live daily LGBTQ evening news show, literally out of the closet and into the headlines on Queer News Tonight.
Welcome to the world's most important LGBTQ evening news show.
Hotspots Magazine, a Happening Out television network, is a nonprofit 501c3 media company in the same model of PBS and NPR, but designed for the LGBTQ community.
Our mission is to support the 11 pillars of our LGBTQ community. We want to inform and educate the key issues of lesbian, trans, Latino, Black, healthcare, seniors, students, faith, social justice, business, and queer culture. Help us support our community.
We are part of one of the largest LGBTQ nonprofit media companies in America, Hotspots Magazine and Happening Out television network.
In 2025, our magazine is celebrating 40 years of the LGBTQ experience. Our television, news, talk, and entertainment shows support our mission to educate the LGBTQ and broader community.
Let's meet tonight's anchors at Queer News Tonight. Let's welcome anchor Jeff Oliverio. Jeff is a founder and president of the Hollywood LGBTQ+ Council. Jeff, it's always great to see you. Award-winning vocalist Nicole Henry will be returning to the Colony Theater for her 11th annual benefit concert on December 17th. Tell me what's happening.
This is an annual event hosted by SAVE, which is a LGBTQ political action organization here based in South Florida that does amazing work in our community as well. And if anyone has ever seen Nicole Henry, I think she speaks for her talent speaks for itself. She's amazing, and it's at the iconic Colony Theater on Miami Beach. So I believe the tickets are still available, but rush out and get them now because it's coming up soon.
Queer News Tonight looks forward to seeing you at the 11th annual benefit concert of Nicole Henry on December 17th. Let's welcome anchor Cindy Brown. Cindy is the program director for the Lambda Living program at Jewish Community Services. Cindy, it's always great to see you. The 17th annual HoliGay celebration and toy drive presented by Chase for Business is on December 19th at the LGBT Visitor Center. Tell me what's happening.
Well, this is the most fun holiday party I have ever been to. For many years, 17 years to be exact, the Miami-Dade Gay and Lesbian Chamber of Commerce hosts the HoliGay party. We have a toy drive for the City of Miami Beach Police Department's annual toy drive, and they report to us that they always get the best toys from us. Of course they do. It's so much fun. There's food from local vendors. There's a DJ. The cost of admission is an unwrapped toy or $20. You can find out more information at gaybizmiami.com and just check out the calendar. I hope to see you there. It's going to be a really, really fun event.
I was going to say 17 years speaks for
itself,
and they
and the Santa that they send is always a Miami Beach police officer, and oftentimes he's a drunk smoking Santa.
Oh,
so it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
I'm going to be a very good boy.
You're going to be a very good boy this year.
Yeah, well, it's a lot of fun. Hope you can join us. And it's for a good cause, too.
Queer News Tonight looks forward to seeing you all at the 17th annual HoliGay celebration and toy drive on December 19th. Let's welcome anchor Dr. Bobby Huen, born in Hong Kong and giving us an international perspective. Bobby is a certified civil and family mediator and the founder of BH Conflict Resolution Services. Bobby, Claudia Castillo ART Studio is holding the Justin Flippen Manatee Contest 2024 Winners Exhibit from December 11th through January 8th. Bobby, tell me what's happening.
So Justin Flippen, our former mayor, he passed away in 2020. He was one of the pioneers of, he was one of the foremost LGBTQ activists.
Yes.
And of course, our former mayor of Wilton Manors, which everything is gay. And so this contest is actually for elementary school students from Wilton Manors Elementary and the Somerset schools over by North Andrews Avenue, and actually right next to my house. And the subject is manatees, which is why they call it Justin Flippen Manatee Contest. I mean, or else it wouldn't have made any sense. The winner of this contest is going to have their artwork exhibited at Claudia Castillo's gallery, which is right on Wilton Drive, a very prominent position right there, and it's going to showcase this young talent.
I love that, and I love that it's showcasing the young talent, especially creative young talent. Justin Flippen got the name the People's Mayor for a reason, and this is just a pure example of that.
And I love that this whole thing is honoring him.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Queer News.
What a big loss.
Oh, yeah, that was terrible.
Queer News Tonight looks forward to seeing you all at Justin Flippen Manatee Art Contest at Claudia Castillo ART Studio from December 11th through January 8th. Let's welcome anchor Alex Morash. Alex has served as editor-in-chief of Options magazine and has been a media director of the National LGBTQ Task Force. Alex, Jamie Morris's 7th comedy parody play, The Devil Wears Payless, Honey, will make its South Florida premiere on February 27th, 2025 at Empire Stage in Fort Lauderdale. The show will run through April 6th. Tell me what's happening.
Well, it looks like a really fun show. I believe it started in P-Town this summer.
Oh!
And it's going to be a fun parody on The Devil Wears Prada, but with the idea of, basically if Miranda Priestley's character was caught wearing Payless shoes, so...
And I know you were a major fan of Miranda Priestley.
I may have called all the kids in my pledged class Emily.
Queer News Tonight looks forward to seeing all of you at The Devil Wears Payless from February 27th to April 2025.
And of course, let's welcome our lead anchor, Eric Restivo. Eric is well known for DJing at some of the largest clubs in West Hollywood and has had residencies in LA, P-Town, New York City, and now Wilton Manors. Eric, Visit Lauderdale is known for its inclusive events and environment. On March 9th of 2025, Visit Lauderdale is inviting everyone at the Hard Rock Live at Seminole for the 2nd annual Magic City Blues Festival. Tell me what's happening.
I was just discussing with friends prior to this how much I love Visit Lauderdale and everything that they promo for us and how easy they make it for us to really stay up to date with all the events that are thrown at us. And I was also applauding the Hard Rock for changing their LED display outside for the trans flag colors on Trans Day of Remembrance. I think that the Blues Festival being showcased in Visit Lauderdale is a primary example of allies, and I think it's nice to see this music category in a prominently gay marketing and gay platform. So I'm all for it. Let's go.
Yeah, excellent. Queer News Tonight looks forward to seeing you at the 2nd annual Magic City Blues Festival on March 9th.
Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Eric Restivo, and let's queer up travel. Gay blind surfer Henry Martinez and Visit Lauderdale champion queer accessibility. In Seguimos 3, A Blind Traveler's Experience, professional surfer and influencer Henry Martinez takes viewers on a journey through Greater Fort Lauderdale, showcasing its vibrant LGBTQ scene and accessibility for the visually impaired. The 3rd installment of Martinez's acclaimed Seguimos series is created in collaboration with Visit Lauderdale and Wheel the World. The video features Martinez exploring Fort Lauderdale's beaches, parks, and diverse cultural offerings. Martinez shares, quote, "There are many options to touch, to feel, not just to see," end quote, emphasizing the destination's appeal to sight-impaired travelers. The video shows Stacy Ritter, president and CEO of Visit Lauderdale, and Richard Gray, Visit Lauderdale senior VP of Inclusion and Accessibility, highlighting the area's commitment to accessibility. With over 12.7 million disabled travelers worldwide, Seguimos 3 positions Greater Fort Lauderdale as a destination where inclusivity and accessibility converge Converge, making it an unforgettable place for queer and disabled visitors alike. For more resources, please go to visitlauderdale.com. Wow, this was one of those moments where I was reading the teleprompter before the show, and I learned something. I always think it's nice to learn something new every day. I didn't know the numbers. I didn't know the accessibility that we really had. You can read about a few things, but until you see someone actually experiencing it from that point of view, it was shockingly, surprisingly lovely.
Yeah, and I think it's so important, and I applaud Fort Lauderdale for reaching out to the disabled community and showing them that there is plenty to do and that the city supports accessibility, access, and bravo, Visit Lauderdale. I think it's amazing.
It's so important. You know, I think of a TikToker, Crutches and Spice, who's a queer disabled person who talks so much about how often people ignore disabled people, don't want to see them, don't want to in any way welcome them. So to see Visit Lauderdale take this very proactive step, it's wonderful. You see it so rarely these days.
Right.
You don't want it to be a thought when you're having to deal with coming in and out of something at that level of accessibility. So
yeah, and I think you know, it brings one of the things when I was telling the story to someone about going to Hollywood Beach, and when I did a chamber event one day, and somebody in our chamber class was asking why we had all those blue mats into the beach. And again, Hollywood Beach is one of the most popular places for people that have some kind of physical disability, because both, not only do we have a beach with the accessibility ramps, but we also have, you know, the Broadwalk, which there are no cars. So you can actually, you know, kind of walk along or be in a wheelchair or be in any other, and be literally next to the beach and have accessibility to get on the beach easy. So it is a very popular beach for that reason. So
these things are so important.
Yeah, special shout out and thank you to Visit Lauderdale for using your platform for this major story. That is a big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight. Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Eric Restivo, and let's queer up gay culture. This is what Grindr told Queer News Tonight. Who is our community? This is who we are in 2024. As we enter 2025, Queer News Tonight partners with Grindr, the world's largest gay social app with 14 million monthly users, to uncover insights about our queer community. While Grindr reminds us this is a sample pool and not a scientific study, the data provides the most extensive glimpse into LGBTQ preferences worldwide. Here is what Grindr reveals. Bears find their strongholds in Greece, which takes the top spot, followed by the USA in second place. Meanwhile, daddies dominate in the USA, clinching the #1 spot, followed by Australia. Twinks, known for their youthful energy, shine brightest in the Netherlands, which leads the list, while the USA also makes its mark at #4. When it comes to open relationships, South Korea tops the rankings, with Switzerland close behind in second spot or place. This Grindr breakdown not only celebrates the diversity within our global LGBTQ community, but also highlights how preferences and identities flourish across different cultures. This was, you know, another one of those eye-opening stories. I didn't really think about the numbers or, you know, the sample pool of numbers that all these different cultures and how people identify as. When I was first introduced to terminology in gay culture like bears and twinks, I was told that I was a meerkat, which was not a category that I had heard of before, and I'm ashamed to see that it's not on their list right now. But no, I didn't expect open relationships to be leading the place in South Korea at all whatsoever.
Wow.
Yeah.
I suspect that it's probably part of because they are extremely traditional minded, and society as a whole is not exactly LGBTQ friendly. So a lot of people have open relationship, aka have a girlfriend, or I have. While having a partner at the same time.
Yeah.
There's some interesting statistics out right here. I'm just scrolling through the Red's website. So apparently the highest percentage of bottoms, South Africa. That's an interesting surprise. Tops, highest percentage, Jordan.
Jordan.
The Kingdom of Jordan in the Middle East.
Oh. Let me just get on a plane
With
right now.
Greece coming up second and U.S. coming in third, except that in Fort Lauderdale we can't find anyone.
Well, this is a chunk of information that I find absolutely useless.
Well, there actually might be some real data in there. I thought it was interesting to see the U.S. was the #1 for daddies because the U.S. is actually aging as a population. It makes me wonder,
interesting.
how is the LGBTQ, especially gay male population, aging, and are we skewing as an older population now? So that's something to think about as a nation.
Point blank, travel outside the USA. It's worth it. That is a big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.
Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Jeff Oliverio, and let's queer up trans rights. The Supreme Court confuses LGBTQ community with anti-trans, pro-religion suit that they chose not to hear. The U.S. Supreme Court declined to hear a case challenging Wisconsin's Eau Claire area school district's gender-affirming policy. The policy allows transgender, non-binary, and gender non-conforming students to use chosen names, pronouns, and restrooms matching their gender identity without parental consent. Parents Protecting Our Children argued the policy infringes on parental rights and religious beliefs, asserting there are only two sexes. However, lower courts dismissed the suit, citing no demonstrated harm. This Supreme Court decision follows the recent court hearing of a case challenging Tennessee's ban on gender-affirming care for trans youth. In this case, the conservative justices from the Supreme Court appeared inclined to uphold the ban. LGBTQ activists say they are confused. Either trans rights matter to the Supreme Court or not. Listen, if we wanted to go and dive deep into the Supreme Court and their and all of their
Shenanigans.
shenanigans
That's
and
a good word, Dr. Bobby.
and discrepancies on what their beliefs are, we would have to go a lot longer in this show today. I think we're going to see more of these cases come around. This parental rights thing is not going to stop, I fear. And I think it's also a challenge for our community to find a way to pivot, what parental rights are, because again, I think the other side got the upper hand on, if you just use it as a topic and say parental rights, people are very affirming of that. And that makes sense. I'm a parent.
I was going to say, as a parent,
Exactly,
I'm assuming you want to be.
Exactly.
Yeah,
but I
you
also
don't
want
want-
my child to be able to read the
Exactly.
book that I think that
Yes,
they should read.
that's
And I want
right.
my child
That's
to be
right.
able to talk about that they have a gay parent
That's
in
right.
school and not have that restricted. So again, parental rights do mean something, but again, it's
It's case
division.
sensitive,
Exactly.
case by case, and it's not black and white. It's not
That's
black and white.
actually the far-right strategy. Like the ACLU and the National LGBT Task Force have talked about this for years, that the strategy of the Alliance Defending Freedom and the far right with this is to specifically do these little cases.
Case by case,
and
right.
To get to the point, their ultimate goal is actually get rid of all non-discrimination laws. So this actually doesn't just affect LGBTQ people, it affects everyone. And this court's actions, not just on this, but on everything, affect everyone. Like, we're really watching the rule of law unravel before our eyes, and I really have no idea what our future holds.
Yeah, and I don't know why the Supreme Court chose not to take up this case. Maybe they felt like we addressed this already. We're not going to hear
I
it
have a
again.
theory on that.
And there might be more important issues that which would be a happy consequence
Right.
if they said there are more important issues that this country
It'd be
needs to deal
weirdly
with.
refreshing.
And we're not going to take this up because we've addressed it. And no, I mean, I'm hoping.
I
But
think
we
I've-
can't assume logic with this.
No,
court
we can't.
anymore.
Absolutely.
But
not.
I think there's actually a logic behind it, because these Ku Klux Karens, as I would call them,
Oh God, Ku Klux Karens. Big word there.
yeah,
I heart
Term
you.
there.
these people actually, cannot. I mean, the court is right. The lower courts are right. They cannot demonstrate what kind of material harm.
Yeah, there's no harm done.
Yeah, the problem is with the Kansas one is that legislature made the law. So the SCOTUS is more likely to defer to state legislature
law,
because they are all crazy about state rights these days.
Right.
But even if the state legislature in question suppresses a minority's human rights, the conservative justices are more likely to argue that then they need to go through the legislation
This is what he was saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
fix the problems, and which is just impossible because it's the tyranny of the majority.
Right.
You have a majority who hates you, and therefore they would never support you.
And it's not the majority. I think it's the vocal, connected people in the far right who've done a really good job in strategizing how to get their folks in power, and it's resulting in challenges for the LGBT community, challenges for people of color, challenges for immigrants, across the board.
But never account of voter apathy. These voters know where they stand on trans rights, on black and brown rights, on immigrants' rights. They hold their nose and vote for the conservative candidate anyway because they can get a tax cut.
I think we're being a little too harsh on the because one, the Supreme Court isn't elected. We don't even know when a particular Supreme Court justice will retire.
Right.
But on the majority, I do think the Supreme Court will start striking down blue state laws soon. They're very much on their way, so they have no regard.
Yeah, I don't think they're holding back for anything.
They don't care.
I don't think they're holding back for anything.
No.
Right. Well, that is a big LGBTQ story for today. I'm sure we'll keep following that one. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.
Now let's dive deep into this big LGBT story for today. I'm Cynthia Brown, and let's queer gay culture. Wicked indeed, as the ruby slippers sell for a record $32 million. The iconic ruby slippers worn by Judy Garland in The Wizard of Oz shattered all records, selling for a staggering $32.5 million at Heritage Auctions in Dallas, Texas. The sale sparked an intense 15-minute bidding war, with the final price far surpassing the auction house's $3 million estimate. The $28 million hammer price climbed to $32.5 million after adding the buyer's premium, an auction fee that supplements the operator's income. The slippers, one of several pairs made for the 1939 MGM Classic, had been missing for 13 years after being stolen. Their rediscovery adds intrigue to their legacy. For LGBT fans, Garland's enduring status as a queer icon adds an extra layer of magic. Her role as Dorothy represents resilience and hope, a fitting symbol for a record-breaking moment. Rumors on Wicked Part 2 will explore Dorothy's arrival in Oz. Well, I think that, The Wizard of Oz is absolutely, one of the gay community's favorite films, and Somewhere Over the Rainbow is our anthem. I do believe, however, that $32 million is a lot of money. And, for the LGBT community, I imagine how many seniors can be helped, how many homeless youth can be helped. And, I just always find that when people spend these exorbitant amounts of money on something like that, that there are so many needs. That's just my take. Obviously, it's a great take.
It's a when you've got
story.
That kind of money to just throw at, not that these ruby slippers are not iconic, don't get me wrong.
Right.
But when you have that amount of money to just throw at something, most likely that's not even that much money to them.
Right. And hopefully,
it's, the thought of just...
Right. Hopefully they're also equally charitable, but we don't know who bought them. But I just keep
there might be more that's revealed.
Imagine that $32.5 million on AIDS research.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Well, hopefully they, first a lot of art collectors do donate their art to galleries, which are places where people who can see art in public places. So hopefully that is the case. I just was thinking, if only Auntie M had that money, she could have fortified her house.
Oh, that's right.
Never been blown away in the first
Tornado
place.
insurance, honey.
Yeah.
Tornado insurance. What are we doing?
Right.
Living in the South.
Yeah, we ain't in Kansas anymore.
I think maybe they could have spent that $32 million to defend the NRA or the Republican Party or something. So, like,
Yeah, that's true.
better
I'd
to
rather
present
than buy
this
the
way.
ruby slippers if that's the case.
And thinking of it as like a queer icon, like I'm sure my family had no idea I was queer when I was 9 and we went to DC, and all I wanted to see was the ruby slippers. So I'm happy to see that this particular lost pair has made it back into the public.
Excellent.
Well, it's wonderful that it came back, but I'm just speculation here. I'm guessing an entertainment conglomerate bought it. I mean, that's just way too much money.
I have a feeling that we're going to find out who bought them sooner than
Very
later.
soon.
Like I think it's going to be revealed.
MGM is now owned by Amazon, correct? I think so.
Yeah, but
I believe
Well,
MGM
maybe
bought
MGM bought them.
they were bought by Amazon.
Bezos?
Individual art collectors have spent far more than
Yes.
$40 million on it.
And by the way, this is a little bit of a side note, but I do want to just put out there that the Wicked novel, the original novel, the sales have gone up like a crazy amount since the movie has come out. It's like
great.
the most that the book has been bought and read since its original release 1,000 years ago. So
Fantastic.
I loved that. I saw that as a side story today, and I was like, oh, I'll throw that in this little Wicked
Yeah.
Wicked
story.
Awesome.
silver or ruby slippers?
Wicked, I want to say they're the red shoes, because at the when the house is on her in Act, they're red, yeah, for sure. And that is a big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.
Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Dr. Bobby Huen, and let's queer up the USA. Trump scare causes NYC marriages to skyrocket. New York City has experienced a sharp increase in marriages following Donald Trump's re-election, and fears over same-sex marriage rights are adding to the surge. The city clerk's office recorded 8,537 marriage license appointments in November 2024, a 33% rise compared to last November. Anecdotal evidence suggests many LGBTQ couples rushed to secure their unions despite amid concerns that a second Trump administration could threaten marriage equality. Appointments spiked in the week after election with a jump of 55% from the weeks prior. The pace remained unusually high throughout the month before easing slightly by early December. While he was leaving the marriage bureau in Lower Manhattan with his new husband, Ryan Adario said, quote, "We already fought for it. I don't want to have to do it again," end quote. While New York City doesn't track couples' genders, activists see the increase as a clear response to political uncertainty. And I believe that they're right. If you are queer and you are thinking about getting married, do it now and do it soon. Do it before January 20th, record it, because when Thomas Clarence gets his wish and Obergefell actually would be reevaluated, they would still have a way of time undoing what is the marriages that's already here. And as a family mediator, I also recommend a lot of couples to set up backup documents so that your marriage, even if Clarence Thomas managed to take it all away, so that you have contracts that deal with personal relationships.
What we had to do before we had marriage equality. Absolutely.
Exactly.
I will point out that Biden, and actually through bipartisan legislation, did sign a defending marriage rights, not to protect the freedom to marry, but if you are married, you can't lose it. Though this particular story, I view as a really scary story, honestly, because the surge in marriages, because we don't know if it's queer or straight couples, but the last time I remember hearing about a rash of more marriages was Iraq, right before the invasion from George W. Bush. So, like, normally when you see a lot of people getting married very quickly, it tends to be a very bad sign for society.
That was probably a lot of military couples.
People, the New York Times, it was people being afraid that they wouldn't be alive in a couple years. And, like, I think we're seeing similar fears right now. Maybe not quite that extreme, but I think that fear and anxiety.
I've been with my husband, we're not married. COVID canceled our wedding twice. And these are conversations this conversation we literally have had every day since November 5th. And I go back and forth because I'm like, so if we do it and then it gets overturned, is it worse that we did it, or is it better that we really go back and forth because I'm it's like, should we just go to
the federal benefits have already been bestowed on same-sex married couples. So to backtrack that and to take those benefits away, Social Security benefits, inheritance benefits, that is going to be a much harder hill to climb for them if they choose to do it. So I have actually spoken to some friends about this issue as well, you know, and if you're not sure you want to get married, don't go out and get married just because you're afraid. But if you are talking about marriage, and you're looking at maybe a date sometime in 2025 or so, do it now.
Do it now.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I do agree. I think I know a local attorney here, Elizabeth Schwartz, is an expert in this area. I believe she recently just did something, whether it was an online or some type of a for people that are concerned about losing those rights. It is, I think, most important having the right documents in place for any kind of planning for you know, financially or legally is very important. But one thing I do want to say is the loss of marriage equality, while it will be terrible, it doesn't compare to some of the things that are going to be attacked in the LGBTQ community. So I think we have to realize the privilege that we have as, you know, yes, it's not a privilege, but that if that were to be lost, that's just look downhill how much worse it would get from there. So, you know, I just want to give that, you know, message to the other members of our community, you know, that there could be a lot worse things coming down the pike than not being able to get married. And
we really don't know.
And, you know, not
just
married.
Don't know. I just don't know.
But
that is a big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.
Now, let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story. I'm Alex Morash, and let's queer up gay culture. Let's ask AI what gay bars look like by state. Ever wondered what a gay bar that perfectly captures your state's essence would look like? Gay cities teamed up with ChatGPT 4.0 and DALL-E to create an imaginative celebration of queer culture, showcasing uniquely state-like LGBTQ bar concepts for all 50 states. The result, a vibrant tribute to the diversity of queer Americana. For instance, Gay Bar Aurora and Antlers in Alaska embraces a cozy northern charm, while Arizona's Gay Bar Desert Divas thrives with dessert hues. Colorado offers Gay Bar Rocky Mountain Pride, and Vermont warms with Gay Bar The Maple Leaf Lounge. Florida's creation is Gay Bar Tropic Like It's Hot, which screams tropical paradises. This imagined bar bursts with colorful murals of flamingos, palm trees, and ocean waves. Bamboo tiki bars serving pina coladas and key lime margaritas, while drag queens dazzle on a stage framed by hibiscus flowers and strings of lights. What do you think about this virtual road trip to queer spaces? You can see all the Gay Bar AI at gaycities.com.
It was the hibiscus. I'm sorry.
If we're going to go gay, I'm going to go all the way.
That tropics one, the South Florida one.
But let me ask you. How many gay men are actually going to go to this bar and order a pina colada?
Not many. It's not that Floridian.
No, it's not that Floridian.
You know,
would have been more appropriate.
But I want to just I want to point out what we're all thinking, okay? Because like the first 3 of those bars, AI bars, were just bars with like different gay flags up, and then the word gay placed, and then the last one,
Tropics Like It's Hot.
Honey, that's I'm ready to invest.
I love the name.
I'm ready to invest.
I like the Arizona one too because they use rainbow tiles.
Tropic Like It's Hot party.
Done. Every Tuesday.
Tropic Like It's Hot.
Yes.
It has
copyright.
The queer AI get better because I've done like the queer holiday AI listicles in the past, and before, you know, you'd ask AI to pull up something, and half the time you get like 3 people as a gay couple or something, like the most weirdest art, and to see like going through all of it, it looks a lot better. They actually spelled out Gay Bar for once. They did rainbow. They did a little bit more concept than just like really weird hodgepodge. So it's been crazy to see where AI has gone.
Yeah, I don't trust AI as long as I can throw it, and I don't think we can physically hold it. So
and the whole copyright issues of how what artists were used without their permission to make AI art always has to be mentioned when we're discussing this stuff.
Yeah.
Well, also, I mean, again, that bar looked very South Florida, but I could imagine there would be another bar called like Rhonda's Roundup,
Love it.
Up in northern Florida.
Ah,
Red theme.
all right.
Some high boots on.
They wear this. They're
High
wearing
rubber
this shirt.
boots.
All the
Yeah.
rappers
Right,
wearing this
exactly.
shirt. Exactly.
Well,
It's a little bit
that would be
longer.
the lesbian.
Some- yes.
Some high-heeled rubber boots.
Whom I
White.
love.
Heeled
Whom
rubber.
I love.
The
Maybe
flannel for
Tampa
the
could have a
lesbian.
Carol Basket themed bar.
Yeah.
Now we're going too far.
Yes.
That
All
is a
right.
big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight. Those are today's headlines from Queer News Tonight. These anchors represent the best of our LGBTQ and ally community, and we want to tell the stories of our queer community.
If our community is important to you, share this news with your friends and family. Join the conversation on your favorite streaming platform.
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines.
We need your support. If our community is to grow and then thrive, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world.
This is the only place in the world that tells these types of LGBTQ stories in motion and sound. That is the passion of Hotspots Magazine, happening on our television network and Queer News Tonight.
I'm your anchor, Eric Restivo, and on behalf of these LGBTQ reporters, the anchors of Queer News Tonight, including Cindy Brown, Dr. Bobby Huen, Alex Morash, and Jeff Oliverio, we will see you daily at 8 p.m. to our LGBTQ world. We wish you love, generosity, bravery while being transformative and queer. Good night.